Attack on Titan final season episode 25 is out. And with this new episode, we get to see the main cast of Paradis devils and Marleyan monsters come face to face and finally deal with their trauma in a respectable way. Kind of. But before I begin, don't forget the Colossal Titan nuke that like button and slide on into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. And so, without further ado, let's jump right into Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2, Episode 9, titled Night of the End. This episode opens up with Jean, the night before he escaped with Elena and Anya Capone in the Car Titan's mouth, dreaming about the life he could have now that Paradis has finally won the 2,000-year war. We see that his dream life consists of him drinking the finest liquor there is while sitting out on the balcony in his new home as his hypothetical wife and child, a wife who looks awfully like Mikasa if I do say so myself, like his dad a Scar, lived a good and easy life they deserve. However, just as Jean finishes describing this dream, the visions of this wonderland disappear, as he's interrupted by Zoe Hanji, who we see in the real world knocking on Jean's window, letting him know that she is outside waiting to meet him. In hearing Hanji's voice, Jean clutches his ears and tries to pretend that he didn't hear her, as he thinks to himself how that if he doesn't move and just stays put in this moment, he will finally get the simple life he dreams of. Although, not surprisingly, Jean, still unable to just sit still when the call of action arises, does eventually get up, and he meets up with Mikasa and Hanji outside. Not gonna lie, getting real death flags for Jean in this episode. It feels like him deciding to leave right here is the critical moment in the timeline that has ultimately decided his fate. But anyway, after meeting up with Mikasa and Hanji, the trio bring each other up to speed on current events, with Jean and Mikasa informing Hanji on everything that has happened in Paradis, and Hanji letting them know about Levi's current state and their current team up with Peak and Maggot. With everything out on the table, Hanji declares that they can't just sit aside and let Eren commit genocide, stating he has to be stopped. Hearing this, Mikasa asks Hanji what exactly does she mean by stopping Eren, to which the scout commander explains that all depends on who they can get to help them, insinuating that killing Eren, while not the main plan, is most certainly an option. Hanji then goes on to say that in order for any plan to work, they will need the help of more people who possess the power of one of the 9 Titans. And she also explains that due to the Jaegerists' uprising, she is technically no longer their superior officer, and that she is asking for their help as a friend. Or at least that's what we can assume she's asking them, as before she can even finish explaining that they don't have to follow her orders, Mikasa interrupts her, exclaiming that she is 100% on board, noting that even though she knows he's fighting for them and for the island of Paradis, she won't let Eren kill any more people. But just as Mikasa makes it clear that she is 100% ready to fight, Jean, on the other hand, is not as easily convinced, as he actually gets in a bit of a spout with Hanji over Eren's actions, ultimately agreeing with Eren's genocide plan under the impression if we don't kill them, they will kill us. But this bout does come to an end, as Hanji, who angrily interrupts Jean by slamming her hand on the table, emotionally exclaims that genocide, no matter the situation, is wrong. Hanji then apologizes to Jean for raising her voice, but she also clarifies that even now, it still feels like all those people who gave their lives for freedom are watching them right now, and that although the majority of the people who came before them never had the pleasure of knowing that humanity existed outside of their walls, she knows that none of them would ever commit an atrocity such as genocide for the freedom of their island. Which is a pretty questionable statement to make, in my opinion. I mean, Irvin was one crazy son of a bitch. But as Hanji says this, we do see Commander Irvin and the original Levi squad alongside a plethora of other deceased Survey Corps soldiers standing and staring directly at Hanji. Jean, who now can also feel the eyes of the dead on him, sees the image of a smiling Marco. And in remembering his old friend, Jean declares to Hanji that he will always be a scout. Top tier character right here. Following this, I guess you could call it a flashback, the story cuts on over to the present, where we see the entirety of the main cast: Hanji, Jean, Mikasa, Armin, Connie, Falco, Gabby, Peak, Maggot, Annie, and Reiner all gathered around a campfire in the middle of the forest. We can see that tensions are clearly very high amongst the group, as a stare-off ensues between the Paradis soldiers and the Marleyans. Hanji, who seems to be the middle ground in this situation, tries to ease these tensions by asking for help in making her famous stew. However, before anyone says anything else, General Maggot begins to speak up, noting his surprise in learning how the devils who fought so hard to protect Eren in the first place are now the same ones who are planning to fight against him, mockingly asking them if they have finally found a sense of justice. This comment seemingly really gets under Jean's nerves, who then gets in an argument with the strong-headed Maggot about which side was right in the war between Marley and Paradis. However, their argument, which seems to have been led to a stalemate, does come to an end when Hanji chimes in stating that there's no point in arguing who's right in a conflict neither of them started. She then explains to Jean that Maggot just doesn't understand how the people he calls devils would be willing to sacrifice their own paradise to save a world that wants to destroy them, which is definitely a backhanded comment to Maggot. And she also tells Jean now that they know of the outside world, they can't keep acting like ignorant devils, which is her way of telling Jean to keep his emotions in check. Following this confrontation, however, Annie steps forward, and she asks Mikasa, Connie, and Armin if they are willing to kill Eren, to which the group responds that there are other ways of stopping Eren without having to go that far. Annie, clearly not surprised by this response, announces that now she knows if anyone from Marley does try to kill Eren, they will turn their backs on them and defend him. And then she goes on to tease Mikasa about how she would give up the world just to save Eren's life. Mikasa interprets this tease as a threat, however, resulting in a standoff between Mikasa and Annie. But before any fighting can ensue, Annie ultimately diffuses this conflict by admitting that she knows how Mikasa feels, as she would do the exact same, throw the world away, for her father. Annie then ends her little speech by saying that if they can get Eren to stop without having to kill him, then that's a winning scenario for the both of them. So, while there's a chance for the two of them to save the people they care for most in this world, she doesn't see any reason for them to fight. Basically, Annie's saying here that as long as Eren doesn't kill her dad, she doesn't see a problem with them trying to save him. But if her father does come into danger, she will not hesitate in trying to kill Eren. With this second confrontation out of the way, Hanji finishes making her stew and everyone sits down and begins to discuss their plan of action. Hanji informs Maggot that Kiyomi Azumabito, the Hizuri ambassador in Paradis and relative to Mikasa, is waiting at the port with a flying boat ready for them to observe the rumbling. Although they do have one major problem. They have no idea which direction Eren is heading. And due to the limited fuel supply, they can't just follow the massive army of colossal titans. They will need to cut him off. And this is where Elena comes in, as Hanji and Maggot note how Elena was Eren's main informant on everything to do with the outside world. So she must have some idea whereabouts he would plan on attacking first. But when asked for help, Elena surprisingly refuses to give up any information to the group, instead choosing to call them all Marleyan bastards. However, it's here where Maggot and Peak reveal that Elena, despite claiming to come from a land controlled by Marley, is in fact a Marleyan herself. As it turns out, after her first meeting with Zeke, Elena was so disgusted by her heritage that she came up with a fake identity in an attempt to solidify herself in history as a truly pure person who helped to save the world, choosing to fight with Zeke. With her true origins revealed, Elena begins to speak up. First, mentioning how inspiring it is to hear the words, "Let's save the world," as can be seen with the ragtag group in front of her who believe they are attempting to do just that. But after saying this, Elena then begins to try and break the group apart, as she starts to remind the group of the horrible things each and every one of them have done to one another and others for the safety of their nations. She goes on to mention Reiner's attack on the wall, Annie's killing of countless Paradis scouts, Armin's nuking of the Marleyan port, Jean and Mikasa's killing of countless Marleyan soldiers, as well as Gabby's killing of Sasha, which she really emphasizes on in an attempt to provoke some sort of emotion from the group. Although to Elena's dismay, this plan doesn't work, as while each person does show a bit of remorse for their actions, no one even bats an eye at what the others have done. That is until Elena brings up Marco. In an attempt to get a reaction out of Jean, Elena asks Jean if he ever got a chance to ask Annie or the others what exactly happened to his old friend. Hearing this, Annie then attempts to explain to Jean that she was the one who took Marco's ODM gear and left him for dead on a rooftop. But Reiner interrupts Annie, proclaiming that he was the one who gave her the order to do so. And Reiner then goes on to explain how Marco overheard him and Berthold talking about their Titan forms, which is why he had Marco killed. Which is why he had to kill Marco. Jean, clearly a little shook, asks if Marco had any final words, to which Reiner responds by saying, yes, he did. And they were, "We haven't even talked this through." Which is a great callback to how Mikasa and the others just want to talk with Eren before anyone attempts to kill him. Also, Jean, after hearing Marco's last words, exclaims that his friend was right. Not once has Marley and Paradis even tried to just talk things through. And that's why they're still at each other's necks and trying to put each other in the ground. A brief moment of silence follows this statement, but this silence is broken by Reiner, who continues the story of Marco's death, explaining how he became overwhelmed by his emotions and guilt in watching Marco get eaten. That as a coping mechanism, he actually forgot that he was a Marleyan soldier, and in a fit of rage, he killed a Titan in honor of his dead friend. Reiner then goes on to repeatedly apologize for Marco's death, despite Jean repeatedly telling him to stop. But Reiner's relentless apologies do eventually push Jean over his limit, resulting in Jean falling into a fit of rage himself and viciously attacking Reiner. The others then try to pull Jean off of Reiner, but Jean only stops attacking when he accidentally kicks Gabby, after she tries to jump in to stop him. Gabby, still in pain after being kicked, then crouches before Jean and begins to apologize to him for Marley's years of aggression towards Paradis, and she and Falco then beg the Paradis Eldians to work with them to help save the outside world. In hearing the children's pleas for help, Jean calms down, but instead of responding, he just walks away from the group, leading Gabby and Falco to believe that he's refusing to help them. We then get a quick cut to Jean standing behind a tree with his hands over his ears, desperately trying to block out all of the noise and get back to his dream life. However, once again, Jean is unable to give in to this desire of taking the easy life, as the following morning we see him wake up Gabby and Falco for the day ahead, informing the duo that of course he is going to help them. The story then cuts to Jean, Gabby, Falco, Reiner and Annie in the back of one of their carts on their way to the port. Here, Jean apologizes to Gabby for kicking her, making sure she is okay, and he tells Reiner that he doesn't apologize for hitting him, to which Reiner responds by saying, yeah, that's understandable. Although, in a little surprise after these apologies and non-apologies, Annie looks at Jean and asks what about her. However, before he can say anything, Peak comes running towards the group in her Titan form. And with this, episode 25 comes to an end, as Peak informs everyone that a group of Jaegerists wearing combat gear, wielding using anti-Titan weaponry have arrived at the port by train and have taken it over. As we see, flock at the port with a gun in hand, holding Kiyomi Azumabito hostage. So let me know what you thought of this episode. Comment your thoughts and opinions below, but remember to keep them spoiler free. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. For more content like this, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.